Hi everyone, this is Joshua Hannink from Future-Morphs with a new podcast, number 4 for now. And I am joined by a new guest, Eline from Ecorns. Say hello, so everybody can hear you.
Hi.
Okay, we can hear you. Again, we are doing this on a distance because Corona is still amongst us, and the Dutch government is getting more easier, more subtle with all the rules. But still, we shouldn't visit each other if it's not necessary. So that's why we do this podcast series. So thanks, Eline, for being my guest.
Thanks for inviting me.
Well, let's start with two things. Who is that in your hand and around your neck, and why did you call yourself Ecorns?
This is Loki. He's a hyperputer, and I got him at some point as a bit of an impulse buy. I never advocate for buying snakes as an impulse buy, but he was going to be sold to a wholesale party. Mm-hmm. And the breeder didn't want him to go there. So he said, okay, if you buy him tonight, he won't go there and you can have him for really cheap.
Okay.
So I bought him, and he's the best snake ever.
Well, a double good deal then. A good snake and a good price. So.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart. But as for Ecorns, well, at some point I started breeding, and everyone asked, so, okay, what are you called? So like, Eline. No, what's your breeder name? It's like, maybe I should make one. So it ended up being basically Eline's corns, so Ecorns, but it also sounded cool because it sounds a bit like email or e-bike. So I figured, why not? Ecorns is fair enough.
You are far ahead of your time.
Yes.
How long?
I sell electronic corn snakes.
Electronic corn snakes. That's a new thing. So let's make that go viral as well. How long have you been keeping snakes for?
That's probably since 2008, so about 12 years now.
Okay.
And all started with a beautiful normal female. I don't have her here right now. She's called Saphira. But I am currently in a situation where half of my snakes are at a different place and half of my snakes are here.
Okay.
So she's not with me right now, but yeah, she's the one it all started with.
Okay. And you still have her after 12 years?
Of course. I would never get rid of her.
And
I almost lost her once. She, during breeding, during laying eggs, she got a really bad prolapse.
Oh, okay.
So she had to have surgery. Poor thing. But luckily she made it through fine. And that's actually kind of a funny story. She had her surgery at the clinic, and then I was called like, hey, everything's fine. You can come pick her up tomorrow. So the next day I got a phone call. There's a slight problem. Saphira is missing.
Oh.
So I was like, oh my God. They were searching the entire clinic looking for her, and they couldn't find her. So just before I showed up, they called me that they found her. Turns out that in their recovery cages, it was glass, and then on top of that was plastic. Mm-hmm. And apparently there was a tiny, tiny ledge above the glass. And she was lying there, which shouldn't even be possible for an adult snake, but she was just in the cage, except she had hidden right there. So they turned the entire clinic upside down looking for a snake who was just in her cage.
Well, I worked at a veterinary clinic as well, so I know that shit happens. So, yeah. But at least she made it out fine, so.
Yes. Yeah, I'm very happy with that.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, surgery is quite. It's quite difficult. It's not the easiest procedure for a veterinary to operate on a snake. So.
Yeah, they're quite susceptible to not doing well under anesthesia.
Yeah, and even after, like with the recovery and stuff, they can. Yeah, it can get still can get worse. So. Exactly. And was that also your first time breeding with her? That you had sorry guys, welcome back. We had some problems with the connection or something, so now we are on Skype, so that's why it looks a little bit different. But fingers crossed that the connection will stay good, and also the sound, because Eline couldn't hear me. So I think the last thing we talked about was the operation that your normal had. Was that the first time that she laid eggs or not?
No, it was the second or third time. I think third time. And she was not small. She was 450 grams or something, and she was muscular. So there was no reason to believe it was going to happen, but just bad luck, I guess.
Yeah.
I found her in the morning with like half of her intestines hanging out, which is a bit of a shock.
Yeah, I can imagine. You don't want to see that. And how many years have you been breeding for? You told us that you had snakes for 12, but...
Yeah, I would say 12 minus 3 years, so probably about 9 years now.
Okay.
I haven't bred every year. It kind of depends on how quickly the babies sell and how much time I have. So I'm not a big time breeder. I just breed because I enjoy it.
Yeah, well, that's important too. I still like breeding too. Of course, I am a big breeder, quote unquote, but I still like doing it. So
exactly, it's the most important thing.
Yeah, definitely. Otherwise, you won't last in this hobby or this job. So, well, speaking about enjoying it, what are some of your like favorite morphs or combinations you like?
I have a very wide range of morphs that I like. There are just a few that I don't like.
We'll get to that in a second.
But I am particularly fond of light-colored morphs that still have dark eyes. So nearly white snakes that are not AML.
Mm-hmm.
I have a good example of one of them here, actually.
Yeah, show us. Sorry guys, Eline is hiding. She's a little camera shy.
So this is a 1-year-old hypopure, possibly diffuse platinum. Depends on whether or not he's anery as well. Okay. But I love this look. I'm a huge fan of it. Of course, I also like the more colored morphs. I like, blood reds, especially the ones that have really deep cherry color. Mm-hmm. But you don't see those very often. And in terms of patterning, I really like Tessera, which is very pretty in my opinion. I like having both the wild pattern on the side and the nice clean stripe on the top.
You're crazy. You have to choose. Either a nice stripe or like the zigzag and the wild stuff. You have to choose.
Yeah. The nice stripe.
Yeah, well, this is morph number 1 that me and Eline are not on the same page because I like the really wild stuff. Eline, tell us, what else you don't like?
Well, you know this, and multiple people know this, but I am not a big fan of palmetto.
Okay, well, thanks for watching, guys. This is the end. No, I'm kidding.
No, I don't know. I dislike the fact that a lot of them are born with bug eyes.
Some of them, not a lot of them.
Found out how to prevent that. It just seems random so far.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't know. They're okay. They're just not my cup of tea.
That's a good way of.
Yes. And. I started out the hobby not really liking caramel-based morphs because I only knew the basic caramels and like some of them just aren't very spectacular looking. But as I kept keeping snakes and seeing cool new morphs and like cool new combinations, I actually found out that I do like a lot of caramel stuff.
Yay!
So maybe one day I will add one to my family of snakes as well.
Yeah, it's a good choice. Caramels are nice.
Yeah, they definitely are.
And also, I know how you think about. What do you think about scalers?
I'm not a fan. It's I feel like you're removing a protective layer from the snake. And it's, I mean, not just from predators and stuff, because obviously you don't have predators in your terrariums unless you do really weird things. But I mean, also just from, bumping against things. It's like having no fingernails. I mean, people can live fine without fingernails, but it's still annoying.
That's true, but if you want to compare it to fingernails, people without fingernails would look really crazy, and a corn snake without scales looks really cool, in my opinion. But that's
in my opinion, they look like wrinkly worms.
Yeah, that's sort of true.
No offense to anyone who keeps them, but I mean, I do like the fact that it really brings out the coloration and the pattern looks cool. So if there was a morph that had scales and looked like scaleless, I would be all over that, but I just don't want to have snakes that don't have scales. For me, it's like breeding a snake without a tail, or breeding a snake without nostrils, or I don't know, just not right.
Yeah, I can imagine. But I've been, for the last half year or a year, I've been trying to convince Eline that palmettos are cool, and I showed her pictures of mine, and scalers are cool, but I can't convince her yet. But I convinced her about caramel a little bit, so step by step, step by step.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get there, but you can keep trying.
I will definitely keep trying. You know me, I'm persistent, so.
Yeah.
Are you expecting any babies yourself this year or not?
Yes, hopefully. So far, I've been waiting for eggs, but they're really, really, really keeping me waiting. These females are now over a month and a half or something after being bred, so they like keeping me wait. Okay. So we'll see if they lay any fertile eggs or not. I can definitely see that they're carrying them, so let's see what we end up with. But I'm mostly expecting, I'm mostly doing some test breedings this year to see if they carry some heads or not. There should be some exciting stuff in there if they have the right heads. So we'll see about that.
Yeah. Well, I talked about it. I maybe not on Facebook, but in or on YouTube, but on Facebook Live, I talked about. I also, like, the first year, I usually try to test out all the heads and the possible heads of a female and the male, of course. But because if you know that, then a female can be so much more valuable for breeding. So that's,
exactly.
And did they have their pre-lay shed already or not?
Yes. Okay,
so close, coming soon.
One of them like 2 weeks ago, one of them like a week and a half ago. So
almost.
They like to test my patience.
Yeah, I have the same. I keep records of when they shed and of course when they lay eggs. And I think the fastest I had this year was maybe just like 7 days after the pre-lay shed. But I also had one at like 17 days or something. So it's, it can go either way.
Exactly. What's also funny, possibly, is every year when I have eggs, I like to put a breeding box in there and also a camera, so that I can see what's going on inside the breeding box, and I can stream it online so people can actually see the snake laying eggs. Okay. And as soon as they start hatching, I also put a camera on the eggs so people can watch that. And it's kind of cool to see the very beginning of life for these little snakes.
Yeah, that's true. Especially every year, like around May and June, I get a lot of questions. Oh, my eggs, they have slit the egg. How long does it take until they hatch? But it can take 3, 4, 5 days easily. But people are curious, and so... maybe if they see it at your stream, that they will get a little bit more patient.
Exactly, because it takes so long. First you have to wait for like 70 days, and then stuff starts happening, and you're like, oh, I'm so excited, baby snakes, and then they take another 4 days to come out of the eggs, and you're like,
bunch of assholes. And if people are wondering where can I find the live stream, at the end of this podcast we will give you all the links and stuff, so keep watching if you are interested in that.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
How do you feel about people cutting open the eggs?
I don't mind it because I do it myself, but there's a difference between cutting eggs and cutting eggs. For instance, I just, when I see from one clutch, if one baby has made a slit or a couple, then I will cut the eggs. But I just make a tiny cut. So I don't look inside the eggs or anything like that. I just make tiny slits in the eggs. While especially like with ball python breeders and reticulated python breeders, you see sometimes that they really make big windows because they want to look inside and see which morph it is. But that's a little bit... It probably doesn't hurt the baby, but why would you? It takes 2 or 3 extra days and you will know for sure what babies you will have. So exactly. I don't mind cutting eggs, but I have mixed feelings about really making big windows in the eggs.
Mm-hmm. And so you cut your eggs when you see others in the clutch hatching.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like sometimes because of that snakes make it out that wouldn't have made it out on their own? And would you breed those in the future?
Well, yeah, you never know if they would have hatched or not. So it's a difficult question. But of course, if a baby comes out of the egg because I cut it open and it is like kinked or deformed or something, then of course I won't even keep it. They will be euthanized. But for instance, if the only thing that is missing from the baby is the egg tooth, so they are perfectly fine and healthy, but they just can't cut the egg open, I don't see a problem with breeding them later on. And I also must say, I years ago I didn't cut my eggs open and they also all hatched. So I don't think it's even necessary, but it's just like in my head, if I can save 1 or 2 babies, well, save is maybe not the right word, but like in a season, if I have maybe 1 or 2 babies that survive that otherwise would have drowned in the egg, then I don't know, I think it's worth it. So.
Yeah. So the reason I ask is I'm not sure how I feel about it because, for instance, say they don't have an egg tooth. What if it's genetic? What if all their babies hatch or don't hatch without an egg tooth? So it's hard to decide whether or not it should be done.
True, but on the other side, you could say the same. Like you have the same with scalers. It's like a bridge too far for you. In my opinion, a snake without an egg tooth, that's not a big problem, right? That's basically the same as a scaleless or having a snake. You could even compare it to like just an amelanistic which doesn't have black pigment. You could also discuss if that's good for the snake or not, because with maybe light or UV light and stuff like that. So
my main concern is that we would go the way of, say, do you know those beef cows, those double-muscled cows? Yeah. They can't have a normal birth anymore because the babies are too big to
true.
Go normal. So they also need always need a cesarean to be born, and I would find it quite a shame if at some point baby corns couldn't hatch on their own anymore and they all need the slits in the eggs. So
yeah, but I think it's a little bit comparing apples to oranges, or what it is called in English, because of course if a snake, the female lays an egg, so you don't have to do a C-section or something on the female. So
no, of course it's a lot less invasive, but still.
But do you really think? I don't think that you can breed snakes that far that they all won't have egg teeth. I don't think so.
I don't know.
Well, I also don't know. But
yeah, you would have to test it over many generations, and I'm not going to do that.
No, no, that's true. But well, so far I don't know. When I started cutting eggs, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, something like that, and I never received a message or heard about people saying, "Oh well, all my eggs died because they couldn't hatch or something." So
yeah, exactly.
I don't think it's a big concern.
It's not a problem when one person does it. It's just I wonder what would happen if everyone did it, basically. But either way, it doesn't really matter. It's just interesting stuff to think about.
That's true.
I don't really mind that people cut at the moment. I just don't do it myself. So it's just an interesting thought experiment.
No, that's true. That's true. What else did I want to ask you? Talking about breeding, what would be like your, I don't know, your dream snake or something to breed, or a perfect gene or combination or something like that?
Well, what we don't have yet in corn snakes is a hyper-melanistic snake or melanistic snake.
Mm-hmm.
Not true anyway. We have some dark charcoals, some dark pewters, but nothing actually black yet. And I think that would be amazing. Otherwise, I mean, stuff like blue pigment or green pigment would be amazing, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. But I think a melanistic snake could be realistic, maybe.
Oh yeah, I agree. Because they already have black pigment, so that's not a strange thing. And also, you see it in a lot of other species. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So
even like
really awesome.
Yeah, like in the Netherlands, we have the European adder. You also have some really black ones and stuff. So it is sort of common in nature, I guess. So
yeah. So I'm really hoping for that. If someone ever finds those, gimme me.
more snakes.
Yes.
Okay, and we see some terrariums behind you. Do you just have the terrariums, or do you also use tubs or something?
For my babies, I use tubs. Because, I mean, having tiny snakes in such big terrariums makes them very hard to find back. True. And I also don't have the space for, 50 terrariums.
I can understand.
Yeah, so for babies I use tubs, and I always have some extra tubs for stuff like quarantine, or if for some reason a snake needs to be kept a bit more sterile, for instance, if they are sick or whatever. So I have some spare tubs, and now that I'm in the in-between situation with my snakes halfway here and halfway there, I've used a few tubs until my new terrariums here were set up. As you can see, the top one is still not set up, it's still empty. But the other ones I am working on, they're still a little bit barren. I'm still planting some plants, but they're still growing. Okay. So it will look better eventually.
Yeah, when you move the camera, the image was a little bit shaky, but I think now people can see what you're doing. Yeah. So you have some some live plants in there as well?
Yes. I keep my snakes bioactive, which for the people who don't know means that I keep them on real soils with real plants and with some. They call it a cleanup crew, which is basically a bunch of insects and other arthropods and worms, stuff like that, that keep your plants happy and healthy. And that also help clean up the waste from your snakes. So basically they also eat poop and sheds.
Okay. But you do you still remove the sheds as well, or do you keep them in especially for the bugs to eat?
It depends a little bit on how many bugs there are. Like right now, I only have some worms in there because I still need to move my bugs. But if you have a few bugs, they're not going to be able to eat the entire shed. But if you have enough of them, they can finish it in a few days. So I just leave it as food for the bugs.
Okay.
But right now I'm still taking them out and I'm also cleaning up the poop myself because nothing is eating it yet.
Yeah, no, I understand. But it's funny to see because people that follow me know that I'm like the complete opposite. I use tubs with just a simple substrate and I clean poo every day. So you have maybe an easier job than me.
Yeah. On the other hand, I do need to, I add some food for the bugs every now and then. I have those little cups of beetle jelly that I add sometimes just to make sure that they have enough food, even when the snakes are not pooping or shedding.
Yeah.
or some leftovers from my dinner. Like if I have some bell pepper or something, I will just toss it in, or some potato peels or stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, you have like some extra animals to take care of, not just the snakes. So that's. Are you still here? Can you say
Yes.
something? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, the image was
Okay.
slow
Frozen?
again. So yeah, a little bit. But no worries. Well, do you? What else? Do you have some more snakes you want to show, or people like to see snakes, of course? So if you have some.
Yeah. Well, I will leave my females alone for now because they are carrying eggs, so they get some rest. I have. Oh, they're all hiding. I recently had a buyer who bought a few snakes from me. But unfortunately, due to personal reasons, the buyer couldn't look after them anymore, so she returned them to me.
Okay.
Which also means that I now have some snakes available again. Let me grab my phone for a second. There we go. And
let's see if this works.
There we go.
That works.
So I put them in here for a second to show them to you guys. This is the one I showed you before, the little hypoputer guy. And other than that, I have, this is possibly my favorite. He is a blood red stripe or diffused stripe. And he is very sweet. In the meantime,
someone is escaping. And don't move your phone too quick, because then the image gets really fuzzy.
Kan je mij nog wel horen?
Yep. Ja? Are you still with me?
Kan je mij nog horen?
Ja. Jij mij niet?
Ik jou niet meer.
Oh, godverdomme. Moment.
Echt hè? Wat is er aan de hand?
Ben je er weer? Hoor je mij?
Ja.
Yay.
Ik weet niet wat er aan de hand is. Ik denk dat het toch aan de opnamesoftware ligt of zo.
Ja, ik weet ook niet, maar ik weet niet of het daarmee te maken heeft, maar ik was net aan het zeggen, als jij jouw telefoon best wel snel zo van de een naar de andere, dan wordt het beeld ook heel wazig. Dat was net met de Terrariums ook. Dus misschien is dan gewoon de verbinding te traag en dat hij daarom misschien het geluid eruit gooit of zo.
Zou kunnen, ja.
Wil je ze zo verder doen of op de andere camera stand? Wat je net had.
Nee, ik laat hem wel gewoon even hier staan, want ik durf niks meer aan te raken,
Ja.
anders dan...
Oké, dat is goed. Nou, dan...
Ik ga niet het verhaal van Joyce opnieuw doen, hoor.
Nee, dat hoeft niet. Dat staat er allemaal op volgens mij. Dus,
Mooi.
Okay, guys, welcome back again. Skype also had some sound issues, so Eline promised us not to touch or move her camera, so we have to do it like this. Yeah, please continue. We were showing the yearlings you had still available.
Yeah, I like them a lot. So and they're, as you can see, they're quite friendly. I haven't been eating yet. So if you're interested, just shoot me a message, and I'll give you some more information.
Okay. And where can people find you? Do you have what's your favorite way for people to contact you?
I have a Facebook page which is called eCorns. It's spelled like this, so E-Corns.
Okay.
If you look that up on Facebook, you can find me.
Okay, and just send you a private message.
Yeah, a private message is fine, or you can. I think my phone number is also on there, so you can call me or send me an email. So just let me know.
Okay, well, sounds good. And also, where can people find your live stream of the for the egg box and also the eggs that will hatch then 2 months later?
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel, which is also called eCorns. So if you search for eCorns, you can find it. It is called the eCorns Egg Cam. I have that every year. So this year it's called the eCorns Egg Cam 2020 is of the year.
Yeah.
But once the eggs have hatched, the stream will. Once the eggs have been laid, the stream will be offline for like 50 days because in the meantime nothing's going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
But after it will come online again.
Okay. Well, sounds good. So people, if you want to follow that or contact Eline, just search for Ecorns. If you haven't already followed me on Facebook or YouTube, just go to FutureMorphs. Anything else you want to let the people know before we say goodbye to them?
The hot summer months are coming up, so make sure that your snakes don't overheat.
Good tip, good tip. Okay, well, like every episode, we wave together to say goodbye to all the people. So, on 3, okay?
Okay.
1, 2, 3, goodbye!